Hi, everyone. So happy to be here with you. Sorry, I'm starting a minute or so late. I couldn't get it to come up on Facebook. And then I noticed the little red exclamation points. And I was like, wait, what's going on? I had to remove it and put it all up again. So it took me an extra second. That's why I kind of try to start it a little bit early so that I can check things and see where it's streaming and what's going on with it and make sure that it's out there for you guys also. So, welcome. I am Elena Johnson, but tonight we're talking about the young family and the young brothers in Coral Canyon Cowboys. So, I am Liz Isaacson tonight. My voice is a little scratchy. I just spent the last 7 days in Florida out on a beautiful St. Pete's Beach. But I was with 450 other authors, and boy, do we know how to talk to each other when we leave the house. So I finally left the house and got to talk to people. Anyway, I have been home for one day, and then we drove down into the woods, and I'm down here with my husband and my in-laws, and so I've barricaded myself in the bedroom, which is where I am. So I want to know where you're coming from tonight. So you can comment on Facebook if you're watching in the Feel Good Fiction reader community. Should be right at the top. I found it. If you're watching on the Feel Good Fiction Facebook page, awesome. Welcome. Or if you're watching from the YouTube channel, the Feel Good Fiction YouTube channel, welcome from YouTube. Tell us where you are tonight. I am down in a little tiny town called Duck Creek Village. Doesn't that sound like something that should be in a book? Duck Creek. It's awesome down here. Just in the woods. We have a house we come to. It's piney. It smells amazing. It's awesome. So we're down here for the week by several national parks that we're going to be visiting. And I am really going to try to finish Bryce this week. So it's exciting. I know you're super excited about it. I'm also super excited about it and have lots of maybe some fun things to talk about tonight. First, I wanted to do a little bit about our giveaways. So I've got a couple things I can put up. I brought a Mav paperback with me. So he doesn't look super big, but he's 5.5 by 8.5, and that's a good size for a paperback. And he's 197 pages. So he is, I mean, he's not Blaze at 560, but he is something. I have 3 of these to give away. 2 of them will be just single paperbacks. I'll sign it. I don't think this one is signed, but I'll sign it and I'll send you some cowboy swag and some bookmarks and things like that. And then one of the giveaways will be a little bit more. So I'm going to be, I think Mav gets ignored a little bit. So if you haven't gotten Mav in ebook, he's free. And you can get him at mybook.to/Mav. This takes you to my Feel Good Fiction website where you can get Mav for free in ebook. If you want him in paperback, you can also order him from the site. But I have like 10 of them at my house, and I'm going to be giving away 2 single paperbacks with swag tonight. And then I'm also going to be doing a grand prize Mav giveaway that has a $10 Amazon gift card, Mav in paperback. And then this is, I think this is an Evil Queen candle that says books are greater than people. Books greater than people. And I have some that are dogs greater than people. They have a cat one. And I love the Evil Queen candles. I think they smell so good. And so I bought a few of those. And so grand prize winner will win the paperback, a gift card, and a candle be mailed out to you. And how do you enter to win? You comment. So it's book club, and book club is supposed to be like a discussion. Sometimes I feel like it's just me talking. So it's kind of hard because I'm the only one on the camera. But if I go back over here and I take this off, then I can go see where you are from. So Denise says she's happy to be here. Yay, happy. Welcome. We have another Denise. Oh, but this Denise is with a C. Denise, did you come to my house? Are you Denise seriously came to my house? A Denise came to my house, and I'm pretty sure it was with a C. Denice. But now that I see so many Denises, I'm kind of not sure, and I'm freaking out that I might have the wrong one. Denise with an S is in Massachusetts. What should be in one of my books? I can't remember what I was talking about 2 minutes ago. I will say this. I'm writing Bryce, and Cody is the heroine, and she wears wigs. And I decided to have her wear wigs because I have a couple of wigs that I have worn, and I could probably try to figure out how to get a picture and put it on here while I'm talking, but I might not be able to do that. So because it's really hard to do while I'm talking, while I'm manning everything all at once. I wore a wig in Florida, and I sent out my newsletter today, and I said, oh, look at me in this wig. And then I forgot to include it in the picture. So I was like, oh, that in the email, that didn't really work out that great. So I have found it now, and I am emailing it to myself from my phone. So we'll see if I can have the bandwidth to show it to you. Cody has a condition that you can read about in Bryce, and I hope that you're excited about Bryce. I'm super excited about Bryce. Oh, it is Denise who came to my house and got the second chance match. Hi, Denise. Yay. So Cody wears wigs, and I have to say that I had her do that because I like sometimes to wear a wig, because when you have really short hair, and I have really short hair, like it's all shaved and everything, it's my real hair. I mean, not the color. I mean, come on, it's not my real color. Then you're kind of stuck with it. I can't change it. I can't wear it in a ponytail one day and curl it another day and whatever. And so I've kind of found some wigs, and some of you might recognize this person. So that's me. That really is me right there. I'm wearing the same glasses. It's really me. I just have my wig on. So I have this really cute sort of brown hair wig with this sort of caramel colors in it. And what's funny is a couple of people who've known me for a really, really long time, they recognized me immediately because I used to have hair like this. When my hair grows in, it is brown, maybe not this dark, but it is brown. And I used to dye my hair black, and I used to clip like a blue streak in it. Because I taught elementary school, and I didn't think that I could color my hair blue. This is Bridget Baker. So those of you who Bridget and I have done lots of events together and all that kind of stuff. That's me and Bridget live and in person. She lives in Texas, and so I live in Utah, and so we don't see each other like in person very often. But that's my brown-haired wig. And I pulled it out of my storage. I usually wear it. I might wear it to church, or I might just be like, hey, I want to wear it to the grocery store today. And I'll do that. I have a couple of them. I have a blonde one and I have a brown one. And I love it. And so I decided that I haven't ever really written a heroine with a wig before. So I did that for Cody. Okay, we're still back on where we're from. So April is here from Texas. Yay, it's my soul state. I think I've said that before. Gotta say, I've been writing in Wyoming for 2 years. The Young brothers are in Wyoming, and I'm really excited to go back to Texas. So that's going to be happening soon. Let's see. Yvonne is from West Michigan. Welcome. Oh, this one just says Facebook user. Oh, Diana. Diana from Dallas. Awesome. Welcome. We have somebody else who I don't know who it is, but if you're from Southern California, yay, welcome. And then this one says, I can't wait for Bryce. All of the books are amazing. Love them so much. Thank you so much. I can't wait for Bryce either. I wrote 4 chapters on the drive down today. It's about a 4-hour drive. 2 of the chapters were not planned. So I always love that. And when I say that, I mean I don't love that because Bryce is already sitting at 75,000 words, my friends. And he doesn't have room for 2 extra chapters that he now has. So we're really working hard on Bryce. I'd really like Bryce to be done this week. It's going to require, 50,000 more words probably on top of what I wrote today already. He'll probably be the longest one in the series, but he's got a lot going on. So I'm super excited that we get to see that. And there's a lot going on in the Young family. So there's 8 extra chapters that actually take place during GEM. So I'm not sure if you've realized that. Those are on Reem, and I know Reem is something new for a lot of people. Reem is a subscription service where you pay a low amount each month, and then you get bonus material. You get bonus chapters. So there's 8 bonus chapters that actually take place during GEM that are not in GEM and before Luke starts. And then Luke came out 3 weeks ago, and now there are 6 chapters. I think there's 6 up now that take place after Luke. And you get 2 new chapters every week, one on Friday and one on Saturday, that take place after Luke, before Bryce begins. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get everything in the 5 years before Bryce starts. So I'm going to do the best I can and give you the highlights, the biggest pieces. And then after Bryce ends, there will be a continuation as well. And all of that goes on Reem. So all of that bonus material that has to take place outside of the books because of how big they are and some of the limitations that I have on Amazon from publishing them that big, those will be on Reem. So and I can put a link up for that, or I think I can comment a link and it will go out to everybody. I don't actually have an overlay. I didn't even think about it. You can join Reem here. And if I were you, I would decide where I wanted to be. Tier 1 is $3, and you get the 2 chapters a week of the continuation of Bryce, or Luke, or the Young brothers. It's really the Young brothers. The $5 tier is sneak peeks of books as I write them. So the Waterfront Way is already there, and it hasn't come out anywhere, not my shop, nowhere. And Bryce will be coming very soon. So that's $5. If you want the Young Brothers chapters and the sneak peek chapters, you need to join as a combo reader. So there's 2 places to get those extra chapters, tier 1 or tier 2A. So just look at that as you're looking at it so that you kind of understand what you're going to be getting. We have somebody from New Brunswick, Canada. Yay, that's awesome. A bunch of my friends from Canada came down to Florida for the conference, and I always love seeing them. I miss going to Canada. I used to go every year. My mom is Canadian, and all of her sisters live in Canada, and we would do a girls' trip up there every summer. And when COVID hit, we have not been back. So the last time we went was 2019, and I got to go to the Calgary Stampede and I'll see all the Cowboys, and it was awesome. So yay, New Brunswick. I know that's not Calgary, but still. Okay, so book club tonight, and there's going to be 3 winners. We're only going to talk for a few minutes, but I've got lots of things. Oh, and thank you on the wig. I do look a little different. I just do look different. So thank you for saying that. I had people that I had met in real life walk right past me. They had no idea that it was me. And in fact, Bridget was kind of texting and walking all over, and she didn't even realize that it was me. And I'm like, you're standing 5 feet from me. I texted her, you're standing 5 feet from me. And she looked around and looked right past me. I was like, I'm right here. So it is kind of interesting how it changes the shape of your face, your coloring, kind of everything. So I think we're going to start with a semi-easy one. So we're going to do several just questions. I want to get you kind of talking. We can talk about the brothers, and the books. Hopefully you've read some of them, all of them. All 9 brothers are out. There are 9 books in the Coral Canyon Cowboys series ready for you to read. There are Bryce's book 10, but he's not a young brother. He's a young second generation. I added him on because of all of his drama that starts to take place in Trace and Blaze. So book 4 and book 5, we start to see a lot of things going on with Bryce. And I know it's hard because Mav is technically book 0 and he's not on Amazon and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you get Mav on the website though. So who's your favorite young brother? You can put this in a comment and tell me maybe why you like this young brother the most. I have to admit, I kind of, as I was preparing to write Bryce, I advanced time 5.5 years. So I had to go back through some of the books. Now I keep a spreadsheet, and sometimes it's really well kept and sometimes it's not. Sometimes I write down sort of a summary about what happened after every chapter after I write it in a program for authors called Plotter. I did not do that for Luke. I did not do that for Jem. I did not do that for Gabe. The last book I did that for was Blaze. So 3 books later, all of which are over 120,000 words, we were talking hundreds of thousands of words. I didn't have super great records as far as Plotter went, but I have my spreadsheet, and every time a baby is born, I write down the name and the month that they're born in, because I typically don't give dates anyway. So I kind of was like, okay, I got to know all these people. I'm advancing time 5.5 years to the summer. So if you've read Luke, spoiler alert, Luke ends in January of whatever year you want it to be. Upcoming January, whatever. He ends in January. And Bryce starts at the end of May, 5.5 years later. So that's why the month of each person and when their birthday was very important. I had to figure out how old they were at the end of Luke, and then I had to figure out how old they would be at the beginning of Bryce. And then right now I'm writing in September in Bryce, so we've made it through the summer with him and Cody and Cassie and oh my gosh, the whole family. And I'm going to read you a little part of Bryce here in a minute, but it's one of my favorite parts. Bryce is very vocal, and so a lot of what he thinks comes out of his mouth, and Cody finds that pretty interesting sometimes. So I I had to read a lot of the books. So to write Bryce, I actually went back to Trace. I don't know why I didn't go back to Tex or Mav, but I didn't read Mav, Tex, Otis, or Morris again. But I started with Trace. And the reason I started with Trace is because that's where we see Bryce sort of go off to college. And that's when he runs into his trouble with Bailey. And then in Blaze, he comes home and he's acting really weird and something is off. And it's Blaze who tells him, you need to talk to your dad. Like, I don't know what you think you can hide from him, but you better go talk to him. And that's when we find out that Bailey is pregnant. And they give the baby to Otis and Georgia. Spoiler alert! I told you to read the books. So we see Bryce and OJ. OJ in the book is 8. He will be 9 at Christmas time. And so he's 8.5 in the book. And we see them together all the time. And I reread Trace, Blaze, Gabe, Jem, and Luke from beginning to end. I just laid in bed or in my massage chair and I read them. So I always want to know who's your favorite. I have my favorites. And as I write, I'm like, everyone's going to know he's your favorite because he's on the page more than everyone else, right? Like he's the one everyone's talking about. This is happening with him. And then I realized that some of the other brothers aren't on the page. And so I keep track of them and I'm like, okay, he was in this scene. You know, you haven't had this brother for 3 or 4 chapters because I don't want you to know who my favorite is, but not until the end. At the end of the series, I'll tell you he's actually my favorite, but I want to know who your favorite is. So I've given you some time to type in. Let's see what we got. Can't choose one, love them all. I know, but you have to choose one. Shelly is happy to be here. Obvious. Thank you so much. Welcome. Gabe is my favorite. Okay. I like this. I love how persistent he is in knowing Hildy is for him despite the age difference. I know the age difference was a thing, like a thing for some people. As a professional, I feel like I related most to him. Awesome. I just love he and Hildy the most. You are going to love Blaze, whoever you are, Facebook user. Sorry, I said Blaze. I meant Bryce. You are going to love Bryce because we get to see Hildy and Gabe. And yeah, I don't want to out November 7th. So you're 100% going to want to read it then. There's also a bonus chapter for Hildy in the Reem, and it's live and available right now. So that's kind of fun. Let's see. Denise says, oh, our poll is, in case you have missed the poll, you just joined, who's our favorite young brother? And I can list them for you. I can list them in age order and book order. So I'm gonna brag. I'm gonna do it. Let's do book order. So it's Mav, Tex, Otis, Morris, Trace, Blaze, Gabe, Jem, Luke, Bryce. I mean, you could put Bryce, but he's not really a brother. Age order is Tex, Trace, Blaze, Otis. So those are our first 4. Tex, Trace, Blaze, Otis. Mav is our hinge. Mav is always the hinge brother. And that's why I want you to read Mav, because he is the catalyst that brings the family back together. He's the reason everyone comes back to Coral Canyon. Without Mav, the brothers would be scattered everywhere still. It's Mav that calls them all home. And so if you haven't read Mav, he's free. You got to read him. He's the hinge brother. So Tex, Trace, Blaze, Otis, Mav. And then the younger brothers are Jem, Luke, Morris, and Gabe is the youngest twin. I have to admit that I know that because I type their names out several times a day to make sure that I've included this one, that one, haven't forgotten one, and I count them. I'm like, dang it, you're only at 8. Who are you missing? And I have to find the one that I'm missing. So I know that. Okay, so that was my impressive skill of being able to name them all. Denise says she loved Jem and all the courage he had to overcome a very difficult addiction. Jem had to go through a lot to do that. I love him too. I love Jem because of Rosie. I know that sounds bad, but I love her. She's so sassy and spicy, and she doesn't want to wear shoes. And he's like, you got to wear shoes. And she stands up. She like is mean to the other kid at preschool who like bullies the other kids. And she's like, well, he's not nice. And I can just see her in my head, and I love her. And I wrote a scene with Jem and Rosie and Bryce that I love. So I love Jem because of his kids, and he almost lost his kids. And so that was a big thing for me to kind of see those kids and how they interact with Jem also. So I love that. April says, it's so hard to choose a favorite, but maybe Luke, because he made such strides and he worked so hard to be a good dad or a girl dad. Totally true. He did do that. He and became fiercely protective of Corinne. Um, and I love Luke. When I was writing Luke, I was like, I love you, Luke. You're my favorite. And I'm not sure if he's still my favorite. Every book I'm writing at the time is my favorite. But I think every author would say that. I mean, if you were writing something that wasn't your favorite, it wouldn't be very fun to write it. So um, I do love Luke. I think Luke has come a long way. He has had to like be embarrassed and sort of, swallow his pride, which has been good for him. Uh, and that started books and books ago when he fainted. I started him down that path of like, I'm not invincible when he fainted at the gym. And so those kind of little things kind of all contribute to Luke being able to confess to Sterling his feelings and then try to make a relationship work. So this one says, I can't wait for Bryce. The chapters on Reem are a huge tease. I know, aren't they? And as I'm writing them, I'm like, you have got to speed time up faster. You are not going to make it. The Hildy bonus is awesome. I have hinted at some things in the Hildy bonus. So I'm happy about that. My favorite is the one I'm reading. So Yvonne is like me. My favorite is the one I'm writing. Yeah, okay, awesome. Shelly says she loves Luke so much. I do too. And I love LUKE and BRYCE as well. He's had at least one chapter, maybe more than that, but you get to see him with more kids, and that's always really fun. And I loved naming all those kids. So 5.5 years passed, and I realized that there were probably a dozen kids that needed names because they've been born in all this time, and you're not going to get to see all of it. I'm going to catch you up with some of the more major moments on Reem, and then you just find out in BRYCE as the story unfolds how things have been going and who has who and how old they are and all of that. So I really needed a lot of names, and it's hard to come up with names for cowboy baby boys and baby girls. I love Rosie. I love Gem and Blaze in the bonus Blaze chapter. Why can't I think of the bonus Blaze chapter? I can name all the brothers in order, you guys. I can name all the brothers in order. I can name them in book order and age order. Like, why don't I know the Blaze bonus chapter? Okay, let me see. I had to click over to Reem. I'm cheating. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. That's a good one. The Blaze bonus chapter on Reem is very good. You're correct about that. Rosie and BRYCE are the best. I'm hoping that you'll love Harry as well. There's a few Harry bonus chapters on Reem, and there's a few Harry bonus chapters in BRYCE. And BRYCE and Harry are real tight now. And in fact, I said I was writing in September in BRYCE, and I am. Trace is narrating, his dad, Harry's dad, and he's going on tour with Harry for his second album. And BRYCE is going to show up and do their duet together as well. So we see kind of a lot of what Harry's been going on through BRYCE. Luke is definitely my second favorite. So it's combo of spiritual and slight not true. I'll give you that. Hush persistence. Yeah, he had really good persistence to get to where he was. So I'll totally agree with you there. I love Blaze. He's one of my favorites. I'm not going to say he is my favorite, but Blaze is one of my favorites. I think he's one of my favorite characters that I've written. I have a few favorites. I really love Bear Glover from the Shiloh Ridge series. I really love Jeremiah and Wyatt Walker from the Seven Sons series. I love Squire Ackerman, obviously from Second Chance Ranch and Three Rivers. I love Hunter Hammond. But Blaze is up there at the top. And the reason I like Blaze so much is because he's so dark and he's so menacing, right? And he's so like intimidating almost, even to his own family. But he is softened in so many ways with his child, with Cash, with Blaze, with the little girls he has. He has, well, you see one. Wow, yeah, you see one, and then Faith has another little girl, like mere days after Luke ends. They have another little girl. And you would just see him do anything for family. Like he's had this big rodeo career where he felt like he didn't need family at all. And now he's like his focus is family. And I really, really love that about Blaze, and that he still can be grumpy and like irritated, but he's still going to be there for you no matter what. And then we see I love Harry. And yay, I love Harry too. Harry's like, I'm calling Harry in my head. I kind of make up these archetypes. There are archetypes in literature, but like Blaze is the dark horse. That's what I call him. Luke is the black sheep or the tortured hero, right? And Jem is also one of those. So we see a lot of that. Gabe could also be categorized as a black sheep. And then there's usually like our happy-go-lucky brother, which in this case is going to be Mav, who's just trying everyone to get along. We have the oldest brother, who's the hero. He carries everyone. He carries the family. So we see that in Tex. And then Trace is what I kind of call a silent giant, and Harry is a silent giant as well, where they're a really, really big presence in their family, but they don't say very much. But when they're the confidant, they're the one that people go to because they can count on them. They're steady, they're strong, they can lift them. They're a giant. So I really love Harry and Trace. They're both silent giants. So let's do maybe our next one. And I want to talk about the ladies a little bit. So, in case you didn't know, a few years ago, this is how Coral Canyon Cowboys started. A few years ago, I sent out a survey in my reader community and my newsletter, and I asked people, what do you want to read? And I'm going to ask you that in a minute too. So get typing. You're going to type in because StreamYard is on a 10-second delay. So I got to talk for 10 seconds while you type your comments in on our polls. And then we can start putting up comments. Okay, but what small town job did I miss? So this is why all the ladies have small time jobs. So a few years ago, when I sent out my poll, I sent out a survey, and I asked people, what do you want to see next? Single dads was number one. That's why every single young brother is a single dad. So I created 9 brothers and 9 kids, and Jem actually has 2. So that makes 10. So there were 19 characters to keep track of from the first page. Do I recommend that? Not really, but I did it and I loved doing it. So you said single dads. Readers like you said single dads. They wanted single dads. I was like, okay, I'm going to do a series of single dads. And then, other things they said they liked small town, they like, cowboys, they like rock stars, they like this, they like that. And then one thing that they said that readers, maybe you answered this survey if you've been around for 3 years or so, but other readers like you who read my books and love my books said that they wanted the ladies to have small town jobs, like a small town life. So Abby was a librarian. Georgia owns a bookshop. Lee was a baker. She owned a bakery before she came to Coral Canyon, and she's tried to open one since. She still hasn't done it, by the way. But she had a bakery, and she was gonna be my baker. Everly owns a dance studio, and she regularly plans community dance events. I was trying to bring in all of these things that make a small town and build this community for you and for them. Let's see who comes after that. Faith. Faith owns a donut truck. That was her small town contribution. Jem is next. No, Gabe is next. Gabe is next. And Hildy owns the furniture store. She owns the store, and she runs these Memorial Day fairs that she kind of brings other vendors and small business owners to the parking lot. Sunny was a nurse. So that was Sunny's job. And then Sterling was a massage therapist who worked at a spa and then broke out on her own and did it out of her house. So, and Danny, let's not forget Danny. Danny, which is in Mavin, that didn't even really take place in Coral Canyon, but it brought us to Coral Canyon. She was a florist. And in fact, we see her in Bryce where she works part-time as she owns the florist shop now. She owns half the florist shop now in town with her friend that she's been working with over the years. So what small town job did I miss? I tried to handle bookstores, librarians, florist shops, massage therapist, furniture store, dance studio. And I'm like, what did I miss? What was really obvious that I should have done? Bakery. Oh, and if you've read Luke, I think we see Michelle and Denzel in Luke, and she owns a coffee shop. So, and you get a bonus chapter from Denzel. That's their meet cute. He meets her. Well, I mean, he knows who she is, but she sits down and talks to him, and he asks her out after he shows up at her coffee shop um, during a rainstorm. So that's on Reem, and you get to see that from Denzel and Michelle. And I do not have anything from Denzel and Michelle and Bryce yet, but we have plenty of words to go. There's definitely going to be mention of them and Cheryl and Wade. Cheryl is and Wade is Abby's brother and lives right next door to Tex and Abby. And we've seen them have kids as well. And Cheryl is Gabe's paralegal. So she's a paralegal in town. So I'm just really curious to kind of think, what else did I miss? I was like, what did I miss? And she's a pet groomer, specifically dogs. She doesn't really do cats, but she's a pet groomer. So I see run a B&B. That's a good one. Vet, also good. Now Bailey is a vet, and I know Bailey's not in Coral Canyon. Bailey's not one of our heroines. So, but yeah, that's an excellent one. April says teacher or principal. Perfect. I have written about those before, but I didn't do it here, so I could have done that. Postmaster, that's a good one, Shelley. I like that. Credit union or local bank employee, I did not do that. I have written about a person like that before. One that I can think of right off the top of my head, but salon. Oh, you're right. I didn't do anybody who like does hair, anything like that. A quilt or fabric shop, that would have been perfect. I need to do that for Cecily, which is the young brother's mom, their mom. She's gonna suddenly buy a quilt shop in the last third of Bryce. No, she probably won't. She probably won't. Here's Yvonne with hairdresser as well. Awesome. Resells kids clothes or kids items. I love that. Mayor, also good. Yeah, awesome. These are awesome things. So thank you. Those are awesome comments. If you're just joining us, remember we're doing some prizes at the end, and you have to comment to enter. So I'm trying to kind of give you some discussion things. StreamYard is about 10 seconds behind. So what's live for me, I'm waiting for you to kind of catch up to me, and then I can kind of go through it a little bit. So we've talked about our favorite young brother. We talked a little bit about some of the jobs. Daycare, oh, that would have been a good one. I really like that daycare one. That's a good one. And she just hangs out at the quilt shop. That's right. She doesn't need to own it. She just needs to hang out there. She can have a quilting society of friends that she talks about all of her sons and their wives with. Right? That's what we need to do. Mav. Let's talk about Mav. Where can I get Mav? Mav is, let's see if I can find the right one. Mav is on my website. So in order to get Mav, you go here, mybook.to/Mav. He's free. He's totally free. And that you can get the ebook there. You can also get the paperback there on my site. It's not free, but I have a few that I'm going to be mailing out as prizes tonight. 2 single paperbacks and then the prize package as well. So you can go ahead and get Mav there. This is a great question, April. She says, does Bailey ever get her stuff together? And I don't know if you're here at the beginning. I think you were, because you said you're joining us from Texas. I wrote 2 extra chapters today that I was not planning. One of them was from Bailey's point of view, and one of them was from Bryce's point of view when Bailey is in town. So the short answer to that is yes. And I'm really hoping that we can forgive her and she can, come to a place of just really a good place for her, and that Bryce can as well. The one I'm really struggling with at the moment is there's extra chapters. Oh my gosh. The one I'm really struggling with right now, the relationship that I have not figured out what to do with is the one with his mother. So he's thought about it several times. There's been no action, and I'm not really quite sure. Sometimes as I'm writing, something just happens. Like today, I wrote a chapter and I thought, okay, now now I've got to write this chapter too. And so I wrote it, and then I was like, oh, now I have to write one from Bryce too. So I did. So in between, Otis's chapter and Trace's chapter, I wrote 2 extra chapters that I wasn't planning on writing. And sometimes that just happens sort of out of nowhere. And so, because I don't ever, I know what's happening. I've planned ahead. I've planned ahead to chapter 40 now because I'm in chapter 31. I typically am in 7 to 10 chapters. I know what's going to happen, but it's very fluid. And sometimes I keep bumping something to another chapter. Sometimes I'm like, this just isn't going to happen this book. And so it's kind of fun. The extra chapters, these are going in Bryce. They're in Bryce. So when Bryce comes out on November 7th, you'll read them there. There might be some chapters that continue to release on Reem after Bryce comes out that happened before Bryce. But I try really hard at the beginning of every chapter to say, this book it ends on this day and starts on this day. This chapter happens after this book ends in May or whatever, so that you know where we are as we're reading through, because there are going to be quite a few extra chapters that will continue through Bryce and then after Bryce as well. So I want to make that really worth your while to just really be, entrenched in the Coral Canyon world, because that's where it's super fun to be. And I'm my next series, I think I've told you this in the reader community. If you're watching on YouTube or the Facebook page, you might not know, but the next series is Back in Three Rivers. It's a second generation series for all of the kids at either Seven Suns, Shiloh Ridge, or Three Rivers Ranch. And I'm going to be doing similar things there where I have extra bonus chapters in the community on Reem, where it will be a second book. So right now in that community on Reem, it says Young Brothers chapters. There will be another book that says Three Rivers chapters, so that you can get insights from Bear and Ranger and Squire and Rhett and Jeremiah and all their couples on their kids as we start the second generation series. So it's super fun because it allows me to write 2 chapters a week that are just for fun, and it doesn't feel as much like work. And that's really freeing for me. Number 2, it allows me to give you content that doesn't have to be put into a book, because it doesn't really form a book. It's extra stuff for people who really, really want to be involved in that. And there are a lot of you. I have over 160 subscribers now on Reem, which has been really exciting to see people coming over there because they're really excited to be part of the family. And I'm really happy about that, because I want you to be part of the family, the Young family, the Feel Good Fiction family, and then of course our Three Rivers family that we're going to be starting up again. So I'm super excited about that. Reem is a really great place to get that extra stuff that doesn't really make a book. It's not a romance book, and I get to just pick and choose. I'm like, and this character will get to do something this week, and that will be fun. And I really like that freedom to do that, and it allows me to give you that extra content. Okay, let's look and see. This is where I'm going to ask you, what would you like to see next? So I just told you that I'm going to write the second generation series for the Three Rivers kids. But I know this question kind of requires, well, not really. You can tell me a trope. Do you want second chance romance? Do you want boy next door? Do you want enemies to lovers? Do you want friends to lovers? You could tell me a trope, right? You can tell me ones that you love, and you can tell me ones that you hate. I would like to create books that you want to read. That's what I want. So I kind of need to know what you want. And that this is a poll, and I'm going to send it out in my newsletter and put it on the Facebook community as well. So if you're not in the community, if you're joining us from Facebook, the Facebook page, or the YouTube channel, and you're not in the group, come join the reader community. It's a private group. I post there several times a week. I interact with you there personally. It's all me. You can ask me questions. You can post your own stuff. I'll probably put up a poll asking people for tropes, hero types that they like. Do you like a more alpha hero? Do you like a more reserved hero? Do you like the black sheep that we've kind of talked about? or, the silent giant, the older brother syndrome, the tortured hero, the dark horse. I love all of those. So one of my characters is always that one of those. And then we have Morris, who fits in somewhere else, and we have Otis, who fits in somewhere else, right? They're not the super strong archetypes, which is typically why people don't name Otis and Morris as their favorites either. It's typically the stronger archetypes, like the black sheep, and the dark horses, and the really grumpy men like Gabe that people really like. And I think the reason is because we see the most growth and change in them. Though Otis had plenty to learn, and so did Morris. So it's just different. We see it in a different way, I think. So I'd love to know what you want to see. It can be a trope. It can be something you don't want, like I don't want a billionaire, which I get. And um, also might be kind of hard to do. I tried not to make too many of the Coral Canyon Cowboys billionaires, but couldn't help myself. I love a billionaire. So it's one of my personal faves. And Luke it happens to be a billionaire, and so does Blaze. But for the record, they're the only two. None of the other ones are, except maybe I might hint at Trace having quite a bit of money and investing it and saving it and becoming a billionaire. But the Cowboys at Shiloh Ridge are all billionaires, and they are at Seven Sons as well. So some of their kids probably will fall into that. But I definitely don't have to play up that angle. So I would love to kind of know what you're looking for, like what's fresh out there that you wish more people would do, or what do you just really love that you don't see a lot in books that you like to read. And so I will say another one of my favorites is Secret Baby. But Secret Baby is really hard to do in clean and wholesome romance and Christian romance, because to have a baby, they have to sleep together. And so typically my characters are married and then not married for some reason. And that has to happen and there has to be some plausible reason that they don't tell. There's just a lot of dishonesty in it. And I think a lot of readers, myself included, struggle with that dishonesty and how to overcome it um, in a Secret Baby. But I love Secret Baby romances. I love writing them and I love reading them. So that's what I'm talking about. It's going to be in Three Rivers. So we're going to talk small town. I got some good ideas on maybe some jobs that I missed in our previous question. But I know that for myself, as I was thinking about this, I don't do hardly any older brother's best friend. I don't. If you ask me, do you have any older brother's best friend? I'd be like, I don't know. I have a couple that I think could fit into that, but that's not a trope I write very often. So I'm interested in knowing, is that a trope you care about? That kind of thing. So let's see what we came up with. Wounded warrior and second chance. I like that. I do like a wounded warrior hero for sure. Let's see. Friends to lovers, somebody said. I love an alpha male who runs his own stuff and doesn't think he needs anyone. Agreed. Until he does, right? I love that. I love men like that as well. Um, and I guess like even Shiloh Ridge and Seven Sons were all Christmas. Those books were all Christmas romances. Coral Canyon was not. And so I'm like, do I go back to Christmas? What town celebration do I need to play up again? Typically, I don't know if you know this, if you've read my books, the Shiloh Ridge series focuses around the angel tree. Happens on the last Sunday of October. So that's how I got it into every book, because it didn't have to happen at Christmas time. You may have noticed in the Young Family books that there's a 4th of July scene in every book. So that's my family tradition that everybody revolves around the 4th of July in the park. The Whitaker brothers is their tree lighting ceremony, which we've seen a couple of times in the Coral Canyon books, and which you will see in Bryce as well, because Bryce is really connected to the Whitakers. I mean, it's their daughter, OJ calls them Grandpa Graham and Grandma Laney. So we see that in Bryce. Anyway, Finn left for the service and his girl went off in another direction. So hoping to hear his story. Well, April maybe has a window into my mind. Finn is going to be book one. So Finn Ackerman will be book one. I have not decided if Edith, I think her name was Edith. I have now forgotten because as soon as I said it, I was like, that's not right. Edith did go somewhere else and he went into the military. So he's going to come back, but I'm not sure who his heroine is going to be yet. Wounded Warrior and Alpha male characters, but Alpha has to be nice, not mean. True. Oh, Easter could be a good one. Easter could be a good one, April. That's awesome. And I love the angel tree. I do too. So the Three Rivers second generation is going to be interesting because it's not one family. I'm still working it out in my head. And obviously, I don't work the whole thing out from beginning to end. I have friends who do, but I'm not one of those. I typically plan the series, all the books. I think I have 9 covers, and I assign them a hero and a heroine so that I can have them meet throughout books, right? As we write the family saga, we know that, book 2, hero and heroine are going to meet in book 1. Sometimes, I mean, Luke met Sterling, what, in book 2? Book 2, maybe. I think he maybe met her in Otis or Morris. Really early on, we see Sterling and Luke come together and pull apart and come together and pull apart over and over and over until they start dating like 3 or 4 years later. So I like to plan this book, this hero, this heroine. This is what this hero does. This is what this heroine does. I assign them any kids if they have kids, the ages of those kids, and then I can age everybody as the series ages. So I do all of that prep work up front. So I do typically like to have some sort of tradition in mind. It's going to have to be a small town tradition for the Three Rivers second generation because it's going to take place in Three Rivers across 3 different ranches and 3 different families. So I like Grumpy Sunshine. I love Grumpy Sunshine. It's one of my all-time favorite tropes. And there's a new sort of spin on it. Sorry, I'm dying. My throat is so dry. A new sort of spin on it called Golden Retriever Black Cat. And I wrote a rom-com called A Very Terrible Text. It's out in my bookshop right now, and you can get it on retailers on October 17th. So it's coming everywhere very soon. But it's like Grumpy Sunshine. Like the grumpy person would be the black cat, sort of the diva, the snooty, I know everything. But we've kind of taken it another step further, like, and don't bother me. I'm going to sit up here on this bookshelf and watch you all from above because I am just so amazing. And I know, that's like the black cat attitude. But we've kind of taken it a step further where they don't like the outdoors either because cats typically don't. And the golden retriever is the sunshine part, but he's willing to get whatever the black cat wants. He wants to please her. He's going to chase after the ball and bring it back. He loves being outside. He always wants to go, 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 go. The black cat likes to curl into her chair and read. So I love the black cat golden retriever. It's a form of Grumpy Sunshine, but that's a really good one, Denise. I love that one. New Year's end of summer tradition. When I wrote New Year's in Luke, I was like, why have I not been doing this massive family dance-off party every year? I was like, that was so fun to write. I hope you liked reading that too. It's right at the beginning of Luke. Mountain man or other type of recluse. Oh, I like this. Cactus was a recluse. He was my dark horse. He was my really super grumpy cowboy in Shiloh Ridge, and he was a recluse. So I really do like that. I have not done Thanksgiving as a tradition. I will see them having Thanksgiving together, but it has not been a focus that has happened in every book. So it's been either Christmas or, like I said, I have this 4th of July kind of one in Coral Canyon. Ivory Peaks kind of has a couple of traditions that they do in the summer because the Hammonds leave in the summer. And so the cowboys and stuff that are left are kind of left there. I like all tropes. They have a place too. I do read that. So I have so many spreadsheets. How the heck do you keep all these details straight? So I have a spreadsheet. I have a system that works for me. Like when I was aging all the young kids, all the cousins, I just made a spreadsheet. This is how old they are at the end of Luke. This is their birthday month and age. When Bryce starts at the end of May, this is how old they are. So It has helped me really keep things straight. And sometimes, like, I'll just admit I make mistakes. And reread Gem. If you've been with us since the beginning, I read Gem again. And Corinne was 7 in Gem. Well, guess what? Corinne is also 7 all throughout Luke. And Gem takes place from like March to December. She should have turned 8 in July. She's still 7 when Luke opens. So I went back into Gem and I made her 6. So I didn't have to change every instance in Luke where I said she was 7 because I didn't want to do that. So sometimes I make some mistakes, but I try to fix them. Very Terrible Text is amazing. Thank you, Shelley. I love that book so much. I love A Very Terrible Text. I think it's one of my best books. It's under Elena Johnson, and you can find it in my bookshop. And in my bookshop, and I'll put a link to it. There is a search bar, even when you're on your phone. So if you're not on your phone, this on your desktop, it's right up at the top right. Has a little magnifying glass, like most websites would for a search bar. If you're on your phone, there's 3 little lines, and if you tap on those, the search will be at the bottom. And in fact, A Very Terrible Text should come up first in the shop on this page. So I'm going to put my shop here. I am releasing all of my books in the shop first. So they come out there on the first day of every month. So A Very Terrible Text came out September 1st. The Waterfront Way comes out October 1st. His Seventh Stop comes out November 1st. Now, December 1st is the tricky day. That's the day that the first Three Rivers book is supposed to come out. But I'm not sure that I will have it ready. So I have not put it up for pre-order yet. A Very Bad Bet, which is the second book in the series of A Very Terrible Text, comes out January 1st. My February book is not up for pre-order, but The Bicycle Book Club by Jessie Newton comes out March 1st. So the goal is to have a brand new feel-good fiction book for you, either a cowboy, a beach, or a women's fiction on the first day of every month, and that's going to be in my shop. The prices will always be cheaper than retailers. But I know that some of you really like your retailers. Not going to take that away from you. You can get them on retailers. You just have to wait a little bit longer. Most books will release the following month, mid-month. So A Very Terrible Text came out September 1st on my shop, and it comes out on October 17th on retailers. So mid-month, the next month. That's the system that I've got going that I'm going to be doing. So if you're really anxious to get the books, you can join Reem and read them there, or you can buy them on the shop. And you can pre-order on the shop just like you do on Amazon. And BookFunnel will send you a link on release day that says, here's your book, and you go read it. I have the Youngs on a spreadsheet also. I would like to see that spreadsheet. I've had people send me family trees, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is great. I should make a format like this. And I really like it with comments, or I can't keep track. I love that. And when Denise came over, she said she was reading, I think she said the paperback, and then she had the family tree open on her phone so that she could reference it, which I get. I totally get it. So that's awesome. And then Yvonne has also suggested Memorial Day. You guys, I had so many more questions for you. But it's okay. I don't want to take up your whole night. Thank you so much for coming to book club and commenting. I'm super excited that you love the Youngs. I do too. And I do just want to say they're not going to end with Bryce. Harry is also going to be written in a way where I'm not pressed against a deadline. I really need to just move to 1 book a month, which is what I'm trying to do with my shop. But I really want to write Harry. And in fact, my next one was after what's one thing you'd wished you'd seen in the Young Brothers. I want to write Harry, but as I'm writing Bryce, there's some parts with Joey that like that's Otis's daughter. And I'm like, dang, I'm going to need to write a book for Joey too. So what I'm saying is the Youngs have a lot of story to tell. And if it is in the form of a romance book, I am going to write it. It will be on Reem first, and then I will package it into a book, and put it up. If I feel like it creates a standalone complete romance for these two characters with my family saga, then I will put it in book format. If it's a lot of family saga chapters, it's really hard to put that in book format and ask people to pay $6 for it. It's a lot easier to put it up on Ream and have a fandom for it. So that's what I'm going to be doing for that. Um, I would like to read you a tiny snippet of Bryce. I know we're at time, so I'm going to set it up and then I'm going to read just a little bit of it. This is taking place on page 100, so it's a true sneak peek. Bryce has asked Cody out. They have had a dinner at his house, and then this is their second date. And he's realized that has fallen on a date in town that the other Coral Canyon celebrities are in town. There's a movie that's come out, and one of the movie stars lives in Coral Canyon. And everyone in Coral Canyon is going to be at the restaurants and then at the movie theater for the movie premiere. And Bryce realizes this the day before. He's out talking to his uncles. So he decides he's not going to take Cody out on a date in town. And instead, he's asked his grandma to pack him a picnic, and he's going to take her to one of his most famous places. He has picked her up, and his grandma has packed for them a snack on the way up because it's an hour drive. And so they're eating and they're getting to know each other. And so she says, she's pulling out the food, and she pulls out I'm just going to start right there, and I'll kind of, I think it's just a cute scene. It says, she pulled out the container, wondering how Bryce was going to eat this in the car. Oh no, it's fruit. She popped the top on the plastic container and saw fruit kebabs. How convenient and cute. My grandma has fed a lot of children in her life, Bryce said. Yeah, tell me how many cousins you have, she said as she lifted out one kebab for him. One square of watermelon, one huge green grape, one chunk of pineapple. He took the kebab and stared at her blankly. I didn't know I'd need to do math tonight. She laughed, the sound just shooting from her before she'd even realized she thought what he'd said was funny. Cody hadn't laughed like this in years, way before meeting the wrong cowboy and falling in love with him. Still giggling, she asked, You don't know how many cousins you have? It's a constantly changing number, he said. Right now, 2 of my aunts are pregnant and a third is having twins. With those 4 new babies this year alone, I guess that would put us between insanely huge and enormously crazy. Ballpark me then, she said, trying to decide if his family really irritated him or if he loved him. She thought he loved them because Bryce didn't type a man to get irritated by much very easily. Number of cousins. Bryce shook his head and slid the watermelon off the stick with his teeth. After he chewed and swallowed, he said, I can't believe I'm going down in flames on the second date over the number of cousins I have. Okay, fine, she said. I have 9 cousins. How's that? I have 9 uncles, he said. Fine, 8, but it feels like 9 sometimes. He grinned at her and pulled off the grape. Cody took her first bite of fruit, somewhat surprised that it still held a chill. The juicy watermelon made her pucker up for a moment, and then it turned blindingly sweet. After she finished eating the grape, he said, Ballpark on cousins. 35. I've got 35 cousins, Cody. And you know what? They all live here. That's not true either, Mr. Young, she said as she pulled off her grape. I happen to know for a fact that Harry does not live here. He's here all the time, Bryce argued. Plus the aunts and uncles, my parents and siblings, Cassie, all the honorary aunts and uncles and cousins, my grandparents. It's like 80 of us when we get together. He looked over to her. You realize there are some towns with a population less than that, right? I thought that was such a cute scene. Because he is really verbal and he kind of, talks to the Lord all the time when they're out on the date and stuff. And it's super fun. Um, I hope that you will really, really love Bryce and that you enjoyed book club. I am going to take a break. I'm going to play a video, but I have to go through the comments. I'm going to choose 3 winners. And those 3 winners are going to email me. You're going to email me. Oh, good. I see some people coming in. Super cute. Love that. Yeah. Bryce is like, I'm going down in flames over the number of cousins. I really loved writing that scene. I thought it was so fun. Joy says that she loves the cried over Luke. Oh, I'm so glad. I cry when I read all the books. I cried today when I was writing some of the chapters. My husband's like talking to me. I'm like, yeah, and I'm like sobbing in the car. I love how each book isn't just from the main character's point of view, but they have the rest of the family and not just Libby's. Will anything happen with Cassie? Oh, my friend. Cassie already has 3 chapters in Bryce from her point of view, and she has met a man. I'm just going to say you have already met this man if you have read the Young Brothers series. You've already met him. And so, yes, there's some Cassie going on. Currently reading Bryce on Reem, hard to pick a favorite. Mav is the hinge, Tex is the protective brother. And we see some of Tex coming out in this book as well. I'm not going to give you too many more clues. I'd like to see Cecily's love story. Me too. I should probably write that. I did that for Penny and Gideon in Seven Sons. I'm going to think really hard about that. Anyway, I'm going to play a little video and I'm going to pick the winners. I'm going to say who the winners are. Just give me 30 seconds, a minute. Just takes me a minute. I've got to like just draw a number and then I count for a second and I grab a couple of winners. You will then email me. You need to email me at Elena. It's ELANA. I know that's really hard. I should have put it on a slide. Maybe I can change my name to that. I don't know if I can. I might have to. I don't know how to do it. I think there's a way for me to change it. Elena at feelgoodfictionbooks.com. Because I don't have, I might be able to do it right here. Let's see. I don't have my Elena Johnson website anymore. I only have my Feel Good Fiction Books website. So you're going to want to email me at Elena, ELANA, at feelgoodfictionbooks.com. You can also email me at Liz at feelgoodfictionbooks.com. They come to the same place. So give me just a second. I'm going to play this thing that says starting soon, even though we're not going to be starting soon. Just give me a second, and I'm going to get some winners. I will be back in 1 minute. All right, I am back. So I had a hard time because some of you commented a lot, but it just says Facebook user, and I don't know who that is. So I might have to go over. I might have to come find it over here in on Facebook. So I'm only going to announce 2 winners because one of them was a Facebook user that said that was the comment that I've got right here that says Wounded Warrior and Second Chance. And so I need to go find where that came from and I will announce that. I will comment on it. But my other 2 winners were Yvonne and April. So Yvonne and April are going to email me at either Elena at feelgoodfictionbooks.com or Liz at feelgoodfictionbooks.com. And I'm going to go find this person and I'm going to comment that they also are going to email me. Oh, and Yvonne, you were the grand prize winner. So you get the paperback, the candle, and the $10 gift card. April and our Facebook user are going to get a paperback of math, and I will mail those out. Thank you so much for coming to book club. I love book club so much, and I'm super excited. Yay, April. She was one of our winners. Lynette is here. Lynette is one of my favorites. I just got a message from her that I haven't looked at yet because I've been driving and packing and trying to console my dogs that I'm going to be. Oh, she says it's Adri. I'm going to say Budek. So, okay, perfect. So you also please email me at Elena at Feel Good Fiction Books or Liz at Feel Good Fiction Books. I need your physical mailing address. That's all I need from you guys. Because then I can mail your paperback out. And Yvonne, I can mail your candle out. Thanks. Congratulations, Denise says. Love from New Brunswick. I'm so glad you got to stay, that your husband was able to do your babies and get them to bed. I know I can never pick a time that works for everybody. So I try to pick a time that works for most people and for me. And I know dinner is always in the way, Lynette. I know. I haven't eaten dinner yet, but we had a late lunch, so I'm okay. But thank you all for coming. I love seeing your names pop up and seeing your faces pop up and hearing what you love. And I love hearing that we all are happy together with the Young family. The Reem link earlier, I can't seem to find it. I can pop it in again. I can put it in somewhere and find it again. That's the creator hub. We don't want that. It's really reamstories.com/Liz Isaacson. But I will put it right here again, and it should go out to all of the channels. Have an amazing night. Thank you so much for coming. We'll talk to you later.